Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of Bursa case studies for next week. So as usual, I will start off with the indexes first and then we will move on to the list of case studies for next week. So before we start, just a disclaimer. This video is entirely for educational purpose only. There should not be any buy call or sell call. Okay, whatever content in this video should not be considered a buy call or a sell call. Okay, so if you require a buy or sell call, please look for your licensed remiser or your licensed financial advisor. Okay, this entire video is just for educational purposes and should not be considered as a buy or sell call. So we'll start off with the Nasdaq index first, which for me I think is the strongest index among the few in US. So previously I did mention about a possible head and shoulders formation, and then here kind of a rally with a slightly higher volume. Looks quite real, but it only reached here lah. Okay, so when it reaches here, you can see that it failed to form another higher high. That means actually if you have a look at this is still considered like it's forming a lower high lah. Okay, and the trend line is quite intact. It's a downtrend line. So the trend is currently going down, and if you look at here, it actually broke down from this pretty strong support. If you notice this chart, you will see that every time it hits about this zone, you know, it hovers around this zone, it has never closed below this area. Okay, it has tend to rebounded. Okay, so this is like another shoulder form before a breakdown. And then this candle was a scary one lah. Okay, the one on Wednesday, it's a very long red candle, which is pretty bearish. So at the moment, kind of looks like it broke down from the head and shoulders formation already lah, and looks to be downtrend. Currently, market doesn't look good. It may come and hit the 200 days moving average lah. Okay, if you look at here, usually like when it's on uptrend or so, while it's on an uptrend, it usually rebounds from the 200 days moving average usually lah, but really not sure. We will have to see how the market dictates lah. I think the market is slowly digesting the possibility of longer higher interest rates, okay, and the economy not doing so well. Okay, Dow Jones candle is actually worse. Actually, if you look at my watch list, I think Dow Jones is actually worse than the rest. Okay, it dropped 1.28% and also 420 points yesterday itself. It's already broken through the head and shoulders formation, and it seems to be continuing to go down. Okay, so this one already broke through the 200 days moving average. So as usual, you will just have to wait and see lah what happens to the market. Okay, and then same with S&P 500, also already pierced through the 200 days moving average. Doesn't seem to have any kind of technical rebound where it may come back to re-challenge the 200 days moving average as a resistance instead of acting as a support previously. Doesn't look like it's anywhere there lah. Okay, so next will be the Russell 2000. Same, it has already broken down from the 200 days moving average. Doesn't seem to be doing that well lah, to be honest. Okay, and it has already reached like at the bottom of the previous box. Okay, the box that it traded in previously. Okay, so don't look good. The US 10-year yield is kind of pulling back lah, if you ask me. I think there's not much of movement, more like sideways lah at the moment. Okay, the dollar index is also kind of attempting to break out, but it hasn't broken out yet. So if the dollar index actually breaks out, it doesn't look so good for the stock market lah. Okay, VIX is now above 20. Okay, there was quite a breakout, then came back down and went back up again. So VIX is a volatility index. A high level of VIX is actually not a good thing to have lah. Okay, this is the short ETF for Nasdaq, which you can see is actually quite bullish. Okay, it's forming higher lows along the way. Okay, here also higher high already. This is the short index for the semiconductors, which is also broken out, not looking so good anymore. And this is the semiconductor ETF lah. Okay, which is going lower and lower. So things don't look very good on the US index side. You need to see what is going to happen at the end of this storm lah. Okay, so like I always say, the stock market is more of a patience game lah. It's not really like, you know, anticipating. It's more of taking your action after it has happened lah. So you react based on what actions has been given lah. Okay, I mean what actions has happened. Okay, moving to the Hang Seng Index, you can see that it's still downtrend. The major trend is still a downtrend trend. Okay, and then as of now, you can see it's kind of forming lower lows lah along the way. Lower low, lower low, lower low. I think on Friday attempted to rally. I think on news that stamp duty has been reduced from I think 0.13 to 0.1%, but doesn't seem to be able to rally lah. Okay, bears are kind of more in control than the bulls lah here. Okay, so Hang Seng Index not looking good as well. China Index looks more like it kind of found bottom, but it's quite hard to say lah. It can just be a technical rebound after quite a fierce sell down lah. Okay, so if you compare Hang Seng Index compared to the China Index, this was Hang Seng's previous low, okay, at this level, and then since then it has dropped to by about, let's see, by about another 5%. Compared to the Hang Seng Index, since then it has only dropped about 1.34%. Okay, so this one more likely to have a technical rebound compared to the Hang Seng Index. Okay, but the general trend is still down. It's still generally a downtrend. Okay, this is the Nikkei Index Japan. Like I mentioned previously, this line was already drawn previously, so there's a likelihood it may come back here, rebound. If it rebounds, then you will see something like it's still forming lower lows and lower highs along the way lah. Okay, which is also a downtrend. But generally speaking, the index is still above the 200 days lah. Okay, it's something similar like the Nasdaq. But this one is already there lah. Okay, not looking very good. If it's able to hold, then yes lah, it will be good. If it's not, then it won't look good lah. Okay. All prices are generally still on the uptrend because this was the first low, then another higher low, and then another higher low over here lah. Okay, I mean if this becomes a low lah, so generally it's still in an uptrend. And I think if recession or inflation really hits, then most likely all prices are bound to go higher lah. Okay, now coming over to the Malaysian side, volume has been pretty intense the past 2 days, even though the market doesn't seem to be doing that well. Okay, of course, FKLI is just it's literally like Dow Jones 30 lah, is the blue chip stocks of the country. So volume, if you see coming in the KLCI, doesn't mean that the entire market is doing well. Okay, it just means that the blue chip stocks have some funds coming in now. Okay, so generally, if you look at this KLCI index, you will see is something like this lah. Okay, it can also be a inverse head and shoulders over here with two shoulders on the left. It can also be kind of like a cup and handle over here. Okay, and breakout. So it all depends whether you'll be able to break out from this downtrend line or not lah. Okay, and as usual, KLCI is a bit quite slow in terms of movement, so we will just need to be patient and wait. Okay, small cap index. Okay, so currently it's not looking good lah. Okay, it's not looking good. This one came down to challenge the 200 days moving average, then was supported lah. Okay, supported and then rallied back higher. So coming days, you will need to see whether it's able to go above here or not lah. Okay, and it is kind of already, you see this is kind of, you can even say maybe this is like a kind of head and shoulders and then break down. Okay, and then can rally back and break down. You really don't know. Okay, so that's why I say you need to wait for the action to happen before you can react lah. Okay, we don't really anticipate. Okay, now I've added each and every sectors index into my watch list just for a review lah. Okay, property index, if you look at this, it's basically something like this already lah. Okay, I don't see it doing well. I see it forming lower highs and lower lows lah for me personally. Okay, this is just my personal opinion. It's not a generalized opinion. Okay, so property for me, the index don't look so good lah. Okay, REITs, I think generally the index is just sideways. Okay, REITs is more of waiting for dividends and stuff. Energy sector seems to be on the uptrend, albeit quite slow, and not as the chart doesn't look as simple and neat compared to the others that we saw just now lah. Okay, but it generally looks uptrend. Okay, so you will need to see all prices and all the other energy counters lah. Okay, finance side, I think it's going to be ding dong lah. Okay, it's going to hover here, go down, then it will be hovering again. if your country is or let's say US goes into a recession, the whole country, the whole world goes into a recession, then I don't think finance will do good. But as of now, I think the index itself is not bad lah. Okay, to be able to challenge 50 days moving average at this time is considered not bad lah. Okay. Utility side, you can already see forming lower highs. Okay, so to me, it doesn't seem so good. Construction counter, generally, if you ask me, I think it's still uptrend. This is kind of like a double bottom support, and it's still going uptrend now. Okay, but I think the smaller counters are not doing that well compared to what the index is showing lah. Okay. Next is technology counter. Of course, technology was the darling during the COVID rally. Okay, went up to about 101. Since then, it has pulled back down to about 56. So almost 50% of the value gone lah. Okay, currently it's kind of in a sideways lah. I don't think there is like a fixed confirmed trend here yet. I think it's kind of in a big box sideways lah. Okay. Plantation counter, you main sector, you can look at technology compared to plantation, you'll see something quite similar lah. I don't think there's anything much for now. This one also, I think not really sideways. I think kind of found bottom over here, rallied. So this was like a previous resistance, which is currently facing. May need some pullback lah. Okay, may need some time before it attempts to go up again. Healthcare, I don't think there's a pandemic in play now, so I don't think healthcare will have a lot of opportunities. COVID time, it went up to 4.5k. Now it's about 1.6k, so it has kind of lost about 66%, I think. Okay, not really in play lah. Okay, consumer side, I think consumer sectors are not doing that well. I think the news on the poultry and chicken prices was a news to stimulate the prices, and then it dropped back down, which is not something good lah. Okay, so to me, kind of sideways, nothing much to see. Transport sector looks good. Okay, if you look at it, it's kind of like go up, then this is like a big pullback lah. Okay, so it's currently above all the three moving averages, although the three moving averages are not aligned each other on top of each other lah. The lighter ones followed by the heavier ones, but generally I think the transport index is not bad. Telecommunication, I think is not good lah. Okay, kind of rallied so high, then came back down about here. Okay, I don't think telecommunications is that good. Okay, so with that, that concludes my summary for all the indexes. Generally, I don't think the market is doing well. It's not only the US side. I think China is not doing that well. Hong Kong is not doing that well. Japan is not doing that well. Malaysia, of course, I don't think is that well as well. Generally, there are a lot of causes lah. Okay, there is the Israel and Palestine war. There is the fear of recession. There is the hike in interest rate, staying on with high inflated rates lah. Okay, the QT. There are many factors which can cause, which are causing the market to actually be bearish lah. Okay, so during bearish times, of course, a defensive play is better lah. Okay, it's kind of safer. Okay, so we move forward to the shortlisted case studies for next week. Okay, so first one is Redtone. I don't know is Redtone really related with Johor side or not. Here news is yes lah. Okay, but I'm really not sure. But generally the chart has been quite strong lah. Okay, you see even despite our bad market and blah blah blah, you still see it's holding above within this range. And of course, it will need to break out from this range lah, okay, to confirm an uptrend. Okay, so for me, I think Redtone looks pretty good. The volume on Friday also quite nice. Okay, although so far it has never been able to close above 0.74 lah. Okay, so far never. But I think it's going to attempt soon lah. Looking at the volume, okay, you see this first volume high, another volume high. Okay, then you see this volume also high, then this volume to break out also high, and then this volume also high. So kind of it has attempted to break out from 0.7 multiple times lah. Okay, and it hasn't broken out yet. So it may lah, okay, it may attempt this time. Let me see, is the base tight or not? Base not very tight lah, okay, not very tight yet. It may attempt to do one more pullback before going higher lah, okay, but not very tight yet. Okay, so next is Genetec. I think this one got some yeah, I think they want to transfer themselves into the main market. Okay, but if you look at the trend itself, I think the trend is not bad. This is like a channel for the stock. Okay, this is an uptrend line. Okay, it has been trading within the channel for quite some time lah. Okay, never really came out from the channel, and the channel is kind of uptrend lah. Okay, so which is something good. But there should be quite a lot of resistance above lah. Okay, you can see it went up so high, then came back down, hovering. Okay, so volume is not bad, but what's interesting in this stock is the multiple cups that it formed lah. You can see one here, then another one over here lah. Quite interesting. Okay, to need to see whether it's able to actually withhold and break out or not lah. Okay, next is Fpgroup. Okay, Fpgroup is interesting in the sense that during such a bad market, it actually broke out with quite high volume, and it has been quiet for quite some time lah. Okay, you notice the volume has been pretty low, even QR or what also not much of movement. So you can see that the stock has actually attempted to re-challenge back the previous support, to test the previous support lah. Okay, at this level, to see whether the resistance has turned into a new support or not. Okay, so seemingly like not bad, but I'm not so sure lah whether it's a confirmed one or not. It's just one touch only. Okay, so of course this will be a new support if it becomes new support, and also this will be the previous support lah. Okay, YSP. YSP is generally a good company fundamentally, as far as I know. They produce generic medications, and there are some drugs which are only handled by YSP in Malaysia lah. Okay, so I'm not so sure whether they do export or not, but they kind of handle quite a lot. They kind of produce quite a lot of drugs lah. Okay, so YSP, you can see it has formed something like a cup and handle also, even though the handle looks extremely small. Okay, you can see came up here, then had a small correction. Okay, so this is the point. This is kind of the pivot of the cup and handle. Okay, at this level, volume has been quite dry. The only day volume was high was actually right after the quarter report lah. Okay, volume was very high, but there was not really much of price movement lah. Okay, so only. Okay, what you need to know is this stock only has 44 million of shares float. Okay, 44 million shares float is super little. Okay, that means a small amount of volume will be able to push the stock high, and a small amount of volume also can push the stock down a lot. Okay, so you have a look like here. This is just 2.482 million. Okay, 2.482 million can actually pull the stock down. I don't know how many percent also. 15%. Okay, because it's only 44.81 million. It's a very thinly traded stock lah. Okay, now next, Dchcare. This stock is strong. Okay, in a bear market, it's still like, you know, green every day. The only thing I don't really like about it is the rally has been filled with kind of lower than average volume. Okay, only this breakout candle has been on higher average, and the following days while it's going higher, volume hasn't been that high lah. Okay, so need to be a bit cautious. Not sure, because usually volume kind of tells you that the source, the hand behind it is big fund. Okay, but when your volume is low, it kind of shows you that maybe the volume behind it is a retailer, maybe. Okay, so need to monitor and see lah. Okay, quite interesting this stock. Bad market also can be quite bullish lah. Okay, even it drop also, you see it drop from the high of about 0.54 to here is only about 15%. It's not much. Okay, quite a strong stock lah. Okay, kind of this is just a pullback. If you notice, the volume here is just a pullback, and then form one cup over here and then break up. Okay, quite an interesting counter. Okay, next SMRT. I think this is one of the heroic stocks of the year. Whatever the market condition is still able to outperform lah. Okay, even though you can see that there is a low two red candles, but you need to take note that the red candles has been of lower volume compared to the breakout candle. Okay, so it looks like a healthy pullback to me. For SMRT, what's interesting to me is this is kind of textbook lah. Okay, if you look at this, volume is reducing, and here is also going lower. So what happens during a healthy pullback is that stocks will this is not nice. Stocks will go something like this. Okay, so when stocks go like this, okay, it goes. So this one is something like this lah. Okay, so when it goes like this, when it breaks out like this candle should be of high volume, which is what happened here. Okay, and then this volume is the breakout candle, so it should be of high volume as well. The next candle should be of highest volume, the second one lower volume, lower volume, lower volume, until it reaches the base. Okay, that shows that there's not much of sellers lah. Okay, so I generally like to have this kind of charts as case study, because they are exactly what the textbook says. Okay, to have a candle reducing volume, one is finding base, which is what's happening with MRT lah. Okay, of course I don't know whether this is the base or not, but I mean this is what it comes up from the theories lah. Okay, next is Harta. Harta, I think, is the only stock that I talk about all the glove stocks. I think Top Glove and Supermax were forming new lower lows, while Harta and Kosan were not forming new lower lows. The only difference between Harta and Kosan is that Kosan is really sideways. Okay, Harta still got some trend lah. Look like some trend. Okay, look like some multiple cups forming. Okay, so generally Harta is the same as what I mentioned last week. To me, I think gloves are not entirely out of the woods yet. There are many people who prefer to see a company actually make money, okay, before they start believing in the company, not just saying the inventory is reducing, you know, the demand is coming back, blah blah blah, and then at the end of the day the quarter report comes out negative and stuff like that lah. Okay, so there are a lot of people who actually prefer to look at what is the outcome, you know, like what is the earnings and everything before they actually make their decision. Okay, so that's for Harta, that's for gloves. But among all the gloves, I still like Harta lah. Okay, I believe that if let's say gloves do have another rally, most likely Harta will be the leader lah. Okay, May only. Okay, this is just my what I think will happen, but it may not lah. Okay. Okay, next is EG. Okay, you look at this counter, is honestly is still forming lower highs lah. Okay, you see this is the first lower, this is the first high, this is the highest, then first lower high, then here, then here. So generally you haven't really seen it forming a higher high yet. Okay, but the interesting thing about the stock is that, like I mentioned before, so these are the kind of stocks that make me feel like the chart is interesting. Okay, high volume breakout followed by lower volume, lower volume. This candle is bad. Okay, this is an obvious bad candle. Okay, subsequently it continue going lower, 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 but on lower volume. Here hammer, not bad lah, didn't close up in the previous day's candle, and then the next day this is kind of, they call it a bullish engulfing candle, but I don't think it is, because it's a very short term uptrend, and also it's kind of sideways to me lah. Okay, so this candle is kind of like a breakout candle, high volume, and subsequently these 3 days is of lower volume, which is what makes me feel is interesting lah. Okay, these are, because these are charts that you really see in textbook when you study, and then it's not very often that you see whatever you see in the textbook also happens in real life lah. So whenever I see this kind of charts in Bursa, I kind of take them as a case study to see, you know, how accurate it is. Okay, so EG is one of them. Okay, the only problem with EG is it's still currently in a downtrend, so you will have to reverse the trend first. Okay, before showing any potential. So the first one will be, of course, to form a higher high and a higher low lah. Okay, you can regard this as a new higher low, and this one usually not considered higher yet lah. Okay. Okay, next is ITMAX. Okay, this stock actually was very interesting to me because as you can see, there are a lot of volume contractility pattern over here. Together with this is a washout candle lah. Okay, so this is also textbook. Okay, textbook will tell you that they will have a lot of VCP before finally breaking out lah. Okay, so it finally managed to break out. I think on some news that they bagged some contract or something like that, and since then it has been kind of sideways only. Okay, within here to here. What is interesting to me is that every breakout the volume is pretty high, and other than that the volume has been considerably quite low lah, which is a very good thing to have. Okay, so while the volume is low, it means that there's stylus has kind of dried up lah. Okay, and it is a good thing to have lah if you are having a bullish and an uptrending stock. Okay, so that's ITMAX. Next is OPPSTAR. Okay, the only reason I put OPPSTAR here is because I want to use it as a case study to see is this going to be a bottom for OPPSTAR. Okay, OPPSTAR opened on IPO day really like a star. It was really performing well. Then subsequently kind of got sold down lah. Okay, but and since then it has kind of been really going down quite badly. Okay, I don't know what happened just now. Okay, so it has really been washed down quite badly lah, from what two over ringgit 250 to now about 150. But what I see is this volume here is quite dry, while the volume on the previous week is quite high. So I actually put this into my case study list just to see whether is this really how a bottom takes place. Okay, is it has to be dry, then sudden highs, fluctuated volumes and stuff like that. Okay, it's just a case study lah. Okay. FPI. Okay, FPI. I think the company is generally a good company. But I don't know what do they do lah. I think it's some tech counter or something like that lah. Okay. Then you can see that it's generally in a downtrend lah. Okay, if you look at it from far, it's kind of like a downtrend. And then even here also you can see it's even on here this side you can see it's kind of forming a lower lows. Okay, so there's a lower high here and also a lower low here. Okay, and then there is also a gap over here. Okay, this is a gap down lah, and then this is also gap down. It makes the chart not so nice lah. Okay, but what is interesting is that throughout after so long, the stock has actually still been forming higher lows along the way. Okay, you can see all the way is higher lows. Okay, it's kind of building stairway steps. Although it's not so obvious lah. Okay, so you can see is come up here, build one base, then break out again, build one base, break out, build another base, then break out, build another base. So quite interesting lah this one, during a bear market. So some people say that if during a bear market and they are actually able to perform, and there's a high chance that it may turn very bullish once the bear market is over lah. Okay, there's something left to be seen. I think it's a bit too far for anyone to predict lah. Okay, as of now, I think we just need to see how the global economy is first lah. Okay, next is RGB. RGB, if you look at it, sellers has kind of settled down lah. Okay, dried up already, not so aggressive and volatile like how it was previously. So I think this one started from the QR release, and then subsequently there was case on MACC investigation on the company owner and stuff like that lah, which actually created a huge sell down for the company. Okay, so after the sell down, it has kind of settled down from the bottom at about 255. Okay, it's kind of settled down, and you can see it's kind of in a sideways formation now lah. Okay, usually when you want to see whether there's any sellers left or not, you see the volume lah. Okay, so if you look at the volume, it has been considerably quite low, even if you compare previously before the heavy sell down. Okay, currently it's like 10 million and less, or 20 million and less. Okay, it's about 20 million and less, and it's currently kind of finding support lah, and using 0.3. Okay, so it depends whether is it really the sellers have dried up or not, and the stock is ready to turn bullish again lah, or maybe you never know, maybe the MACC report has been completed lah, and maybe the owner is free, so it's starting to push up. This one we really don't know one lah. Okay, have to see. So as usual, I say all these case studies just for educational purpose lah. We see nice or not, you know, then we see whether it happens or not. Okay, it's not a buy or sell call. We just see lah. You know what, we study whether it actually happens or not. Okay, and the last counter I have is CYPARK. Okay, why I put CYPARK inside is generally I don't think the renewable energy sector is doing well. Okay, I think SolarVest is not doing well, Sunview is not doing well, Smrt is not doing well. I think Pekat also not doing well. Okay, but if you look at CYPARK, it looks not bad. Okay, it really looks quite good. Okay, after this huge volume breakout, after head and shoulders formation over here, and then a huge breakout over here, you can see that the stock came back down to retest back the previous resistance, okay, which is turning into a support lah. Okay, and then a few days ago it actually broke down from the support, but it was supported by the 50 days moving average instead. Okay, generally the stock is uptrending. Okay, I think the stock is quite good lah in terms of the chart, but it waits to see lah whether it's a technical rebound or not, because so far it hasn't formed a higher high nor a higher low. Okay, it looks more like it's finding a base lah. Okay, so you will have to wait and see lah. Okay, but generally I think renewable energy counters are not really performing that well. They are not really performing like how they were previously lah, like from here. Okay, December 2022 run up until okay 1 ringgit plus in February, in just 2 months like that can run up so much. So generally I don't think they are doing that well again lah. And again, I think the leader was, you know, SolarVest. While everyone was still red, SolarVest was the only one green and going higher. So I don't think the renewable energy team is really back yet lah for now. Okay, so CYPARK concludes the final stock I have in my case study list. I actually missed out one stock, DAY3. Okay, DAY3 is quite interesting. Since the IPO of a very heavy selling over here, has been kind of downtrend and challenging this downtrend line multiple times and then failed. So if you look at the structure of this the chart pattern, you will notice that from this downtrend it has actually turned into sideways. Okay, over here. Okay, so this sideways over here kind of shows that it has kind of found bottom lah. Okay, so you can see that the volume here is quite dry. It's quite low compared to how fierce it was previously. It's already quite dry, and then now volume is actually slowly coming up. Okay, so there is a possibility that DAY3 has actually found bottom and may be ready to turn the trend lah. Okay, but to confirm whether it's a confirmed trend, downtrend or uptrend, so I mean it's sorry, not downtrend or uptrend, whether it has confirmed turn have a trend reversal or it's just a dead cat bounce, you will see that it forms something like this, and then lower high and higher high lah. Okay, so this lower high and higher high is actually a very important characteristic that you must find in an uptrend stock. Okay, only by that you will know that whether it's in an uptrend or sideways or stuff like that. Okay, so dead cat bounce, you will see something like this lah. Okay, something like this. It will attempt, but it will not be able to form a higher high and a higher low. Okay, so when you look at this part of the video, you may notice that that there is some jumping here and there. I apologize for that. It's actually I missed out this stock lah, and I decided to add it in. Okay. If you realize my case study list is actually going shorter and shorter, there are lesser and lesser stocks that I take in as a case study lah. Okay. My favorite case study stocks setup are usually those with a very solid, quiet and tight kind of base, because those are like, you know, just before breakout. Those are my favorite case studies lah. But as you see, there are lesser and lesser case study stocks being listed in, which indicates that there is not so many stocks in the market which really have this kind of criteria lah. Okay, and usually there are things which can actually tell you in advance, like, you know, it's the earliest indicator that a market correction is due. Okay, the first one will be lesser and lesser stocks forming solid bases and breaking out. Okay, that's the first one, the first indication. And the second indication which you can take note of is when there are a lot of fake breakouts. That means many stocks, they build quite solid base and they break out after a few days. They come back down. Okay, they break through the pivot point, and also they may actually even break support lah. Okay, so when this happens, you know that the market is actually not doing well. That means there is no follow through anymore. Okay, post breakout, the breakout is only like a one-day show, and post breakout there's no more follow up lah. There's no more follow through counts and volume supporting it. So these are two of the most earliest indicators that you can have to know whether a market correction is bound or not. And currently, I think in the US, the indexes have shown they're not doing well. I think the giants like Nvidia, which rallied heavily from early this year, I think, or end of last year, they are no longer able to actually form higher highs, and instead they are going lower and lower. I think the only counter that performed very well yesterday was Amazon due to the good quarter results. But we await to see what happens next week, if there is a follow through or it's just a one-day show because of the quarter report. So some companies that actually even they do well, and if the market sentiment is bearish, they are able to actually perform on the day that the quarter report is released, but subsequently is kind of being sold down back lah. Okay, so for me, I think market is going to need a defensive stance lah. Okay, it's better to watch the case studies, watch it materialize, or if it doesn't, then you can learn why it didn't happen lah. Okay, other than that, I think that's all. Again, just a reminder, a disclaimer for this video. This video is entirely for educational purpose only, and there is no buy or sell call involved in it. All the stocks listed and discussed are just for educational purpose, as they are my own personal case study list. Now, none of it should be considered as a buy or sell call, and if you require a buy or sell call, please look for your licensed remiser or your licensed financial advisor. Okay, this entire video is for educational purpose only, and there is no buy or sell call involved. Okay, so that will be all for my video this week, and I hope to see you guys again next week. Okay, that's all. Thank you. Bye bye.
If you liked this video, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more videos.